Alrighty guys, welcome to the Halo 5 Ultimate Sound Effects Collection Pack version 4. This is the fourth and final version. I believe this is about a year and a half later from version 3. I know it's been a long time, sorry about the wait. I balance a lot of projects at the same time, so sorry it took so long, but this is it. This is the final pack. If you want to go ahead and download version 4, as always, it is in the link in the description below for you to download. I'm going to go ahead and run through the list of changes from version 3 to version 4, as well as some of the changes I made to the way the folders are all laid out and how everything is organized. If you are a Halo content creator that routinely uses these sound effects, I wanted to respect that. So basically all of the folders are about the same. Basically everything is laid out just as you already know it. There are just a couple or maybe 3 or 4 minor changes that I'm going to go over as well. The last thing I wanted to do was reorganize everything and make it just harder for you guys to relearn where everything is. One final note before we get into it, once I'm done going over the folder changes, I'm going to go ahead and pull the curtain back on how I recorded these without noise, where I did it inside Halo, and I'm also going to make that map public so you guys can actually use the map yourself. I'm finally going to share it with people. I know people were asking for it, but I didn't want to share it until I was completely done. So this video marks the completion of my work as far as Halo 5 sound effects goes. So if there's something that you want to record yourself or something that you want me to do, you can then use the map for yourself within Halo 5, and so you can do it yourself. Okay, so the first change is in the noise fixes. Some of you guys may have noticed that some of the exported files for version 3 had some weird noise static that was underlying the sound, and so it was virtually unusable. So that included, but not limited to, the tank, the Scorpion tank, cannon impacts, both close range, medium range, far, and very far. Others that were affected were the scatter shot reload sounds and the binary rifle reload sounds. Those were all re-recorded and fixed. Now on to folder changes. The weapon fire distance variation was moved into the weapon fire folder, so pretty much guns firing, that's all basically in one central folder. The next change is all Guardian related sounds are in one central folder in the other category. This includes the scriptable Forge sounds within the Forge scripts that you can do manually, such as the Guardian song that you hear in campaign, and this also includes other new sounds that I will get to in a moment. The hidden sound pack from the previous versions, which I never actually said what it was, it's a bunch of fatality sounds from Mortal Kombat X with just that sound basically. Those were previously hidden away somewhere within the Spartan sounds. I moved those to the other folder so they're easier to get at. Those are really good for any kind of hard-hitting gore sounds or anything like that. Alright, now on to the exciting stuff. What is new? I'm going to list this off just clearly in like a bullet point fashion. Added first-person Phaeton translocation sounds for when you're driving or piloting. Added additional mongoose driving sounds, more samples for driving. Added sound for exiting a tank with the engine turning off. This is done from a third-person perspective. I redid the grenade sounds. I added plasma pre-detonate charge-ups, which is when you stick something and it does that really weird, I can't really describe it, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Also added more frag grenade bounces and rolls. I actually did these from like a far away distance where it was almost impossible to hear, and then I raised that audio so that you got some more variety with grenade bounces. The old category for grenades had 39 files, and now the new grenade sound effects count has 71. I redid all the power-up sounds, both equipping them when they're about to run out, when you're standing next to them and they're just humming, and I think the entire duration of when they're equipped. I added 2 velocity pass sounds from the Heartseeker incineration cannon. I found out that the whooshing velocity pass of the incineration cannon is actually, it has its own version, or has 2 special sounds for the Heartseeker versus the normal. So there's 2, basically there's 4 now, 4 incineration cannon velocity passes. I also learned the same with the Dying Star light rifles, so I added 6 velocity pass sounds from the Dying Star. I added a detached human and Covenant turret sound for when you grab a turret and tear it off of the tripod. I added entire bursts for Assault Rifle, SMG, and SAW, both with Echo and without the Echo. So if you need real long takes, I went ahead and used the extended mag versions of these guns and got some longer takes. One significant new category is what I call the micro reload bits. And so this is something that someone suggested, and so I went ahead and did it. And I'm actually happy that I did it. So I added micro reload bits in the weapon reloads folder. These are basically the individual sounds within the reload sound effects that are basically separated. So what I mean by that is when you turn the reload speed down to slow motion within the game, basically 10-20%, you'll notice that the actual reload sounds for the guns are broken up into pieces. So for most guns, I got about every sound from them. So you can basically build your own reload sounds instead of using just one specific one for your content. So you can kind of get a little creative there. And some sounds actually sound good for other types of uses, actually. So that's really cool. And that is 199 sounds for that category. I recorded and added 2 Forerunner Core death explosions from when you destroy them in the final level of the campaign. I added the Guardian Pulses from the very final part of the campaign when you're at that last little moment and you're trying to reach that little console. And here's a quick example of what those sound like in case you can't remember. I also added the original headshot pop sound in the user interface folder. I posted a video regarding these a while back, but they're now in the pack officially. I know there are a bunch of people asking for those sounds in the comments for other videos, so I'm happy that they're finally there. I added walk cycles for 4 different surfaces so that you don't have to place individual footsteps if you want to go that far with your mixing for your content. Now, I think the 4 surfaces are basic tile, then there's grass/dirt, the breakout tiles, and then glass. I also adjusted the punching impact sounds. There are now no swinging swoosh sounds or whooshing sounds within the actual sounds themselves. There's just the impact. These are the sounds for when you punch at like an object, whether it be a block or another person or basically what have you. So before those sounds, they had part of the actual punching swoosh, and now it's literally just the impacts. So it's a lot easier for you guys to build these sounds, where if you want to have a specific swooshing swing sound, you can then find whatever impact you want and then kit bash those together. Throughout the process of sifting through version 3, I also eliminated a bunch of repeats for certain categories. While version 3 had somewhere around 4,550 sounds, this version 4 and final version has 4,776 sounds altogether. And yeah, this is it, guys. This is the final pack, so it's in the description below if you want to get it for yourself or if you haven't already started downloading already. I'm going to go ahead and answer a question that I'm sure people are going to ask. So, am I going to do this again with Halo Infinite? I would like to. I would love to. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun at the same time. Believe it or not, this actually gave me a strategic advantage within Warzone. I could pick out guns from like far away and know exactly what rec people would be like using, whether or not it was the suppressor or the Razor's Edge suppressor, stuff like that. So I would love to do it again, but I can't make any promises right now. But now it's the moment you guys have all been waiting for, a tour of the sound map that I used and where it is and how I did it. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. Alrighty guys, so it's time for a tour of the map that I used. I built this map all by myself, and as you can see, we're in a little bit of a waiting room. This is where you spawn, and this is essentially a safeguard method for if I was doing sounds in a custom game. I would be able to lock this door here, and basically anyone who came in case I forgot to set it to invite only, people would be trapped and they wouldn't be able to basically get in the way. They also couldn't kill themselves and respawn outside because the recording game type has no grenades, and obviously this is Forge right now. But we come out here and you can see the whole map. It's changed a lot over time. I mean, I used this from January of 2016, right at the turn of the year, and pretty much up until only a couple weeks back when I started, or when I really finished all the recordings. But we have all the guns laid out on tables, like so. I'm going to Forge mode here. Everything's all laid out. And then they had that update where they released the Rex, and so, or at least they released some of them. So I went ahead and released a bunch of those. Not released, I placed a bunch of those. And so those are all there. And then they finally released all of them, and so I lined up all the rest. Pretty much all the ones that were necessary right there. There have been a lot of things that have changed. Over here, this section at one point had a little cage with a warthog that would move on its own that I would use for the shield sound effects video. That one is pretty much the most popular one. And currently my second most viewed video right now on my channel. We got lots of vehicles over here. Lots of different stuff. I have a death pit right here. You can't really see it unless I grab this guy. You can't see it, but if you were to walk in there, you'd die. Nice little Hannibal Wasp. And other flying vehicles over here. Some random trees. Those started growing. You know, I've used this map for a long time, so those trees kind of grew over time. The Wernicke Wrecker launch pad. So if you're not familiar, you step on it and it launches you up. Anyway. I had a green screen over here. It's kind of, I've messed with it in the past. I would put explosions behind it. This was used for the Olive's Revenge stuff. I used that for that. Got a spinning grunt. There's a back section of the map that I used for the walking and like surface stuff. You know, these tiles sound differently than these glass tiles, and then there's a little nature walking area. And it actually wraps around back here, back up to the front. And then there's also this upper level with lots of different platforms and stuff. And I actually just built this little area yesterday. And I wanted to experiment with the idea of how many grenade throws it would take to kill a vehicle. And so a buddy of mine were going to do this, but then he had to leave, and so I haven't done it yet. But what I mean by that is how many basically grenade bounces or fastball grenades it would take to kill a vehicle. I had a friend of mine, one of my best friends actually in Warzone, he destroyed a Scorpion tank at one point by throwing a grenade on it, and the actual frag grenade hitting the tank and bouncing off killed the tank. So that's where that idea came from, but maybe that'll be something for a video later on. But anyway, moving on. I made all these driving pathways and stuff just for fun, basically. There's also a bunch of man cannons because I at one point recorded man cannon sounds. So there's all that. Lots of different platforms and stuff. The spinning olives too. What else is there? That's that's really it at like a nutshell. I mean, however, there's still the burning question of where this is inside of Halo. So I guess I'll finally show you guys. So I'm gonna give you another hint. If we come down here, there's a little elevator space. There's a lower level down here, and if we go ahead and go in here, there's actually a teleporter that leads back up. There's some more weapons right here, and there's also a platform, a little ramp right here. You can come back out to this opening spot over here. Now, you're probably seeing all this, and you're thinking, okay, that's part of an actual level. Well, you are correct. So we're going to go ahead and delete this. And if we delete this, you'll notice that we are outside of probably one of the worst maps in Halo history. At least that's what the community says. We are outside Overgrowth. The map, this soundstage map, is on Overgrowth. Now, when Overgrowth came out in December, I actually did not figure this out. I have to give a special shout out to my best friend over at TK Disc Golf. If you're a disc golf fan, definitely check them out. Link below. Anyway, basically, he sent me like a video once where when the map came out, you could actually fly, like there literally were no barriers. So you could literally go into Forge mode and fly up here. And so because of that, you exited the ambient volume. And so I was immediately super excited about this. And so the reason that the level is shaped the way it is because I knew that if I was going to start doing the sound series, I was going to have to do it in a way where people wouldn't know where I did it, because as far as I know, I'm the only one that has done this in such a way where there's no ambient sound. There wasn't like some other sound packs that I downloaded and tested, and while they're mostly noise proof, you can tell if you raise the audio. I was able to find out that there is actually the ambient hum from Parallax, which is a Space Forge map. So you know, not really like that matters. But anyway, so yeah, I built this forge map based around the skybox. So I took away these walls, and you can tell there's parts of the skybox. So basically, I wanted to basically hide where this map was, and so the shape of it is literally just built around the skybox. So we can keep on taking pieces apart and whatnot, and you can see for yourself. And my Halo crashed. Look at that. We're just going to relaunch Halo real fast, and this will actually give me a chance to go ahead and actually make this map available to you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. You know, I could just cut this out, but that's kind of funny that it crashed like that. That's kind of weird, so we're going to leave that in. Just to make this video longer for no reason, right? So I called this map, I called it SS1 for like Soundstage 1. I really didn't know like what to call it. I wanted to call it something obscure, just in case somehow people like saw it within all of my map files. They wouldn't think to like look at it if it's, you know, because if it said like, oh, sound recording map, you know, it's super obvious. Because I'm pretty sure some people at least searched and tried to find it. So I wanted to keep it a secret. But now that I'm not recording sounds, I might as well basically make it available. So SS1, I'm going to go ahead and edit the tags on this. We're going to search visibility, toggle that on. So literally making this video right now, it's now available here in a moment. Tags, so if you search in SS1, that's going to be a tag. We're going to go ahead and do my gamer tag. Aegis Mind. And that should be enough. So we're just going to save that. If you search those keywords, this should come up. You'll see SS1. You'll see the thumbnail for overgrowth. That's really all you would need. I'm going to... Yeah, I'll just go ahead and bookmark this. So if you go to my bookmarks, you can find that. So go to it's not in here. Is it in here? No, it's not. It's in the file browser. Anyway, we're going to reload that map though. There's a few more things I wanted to go over. So yeah, the map is available. You guys can get it now for yourself. There's also one other big thing that I wanted to show you guys, or basically tell you guys. So whenever you make a level, and this is usually true for most games, you'll have the ambient background sound, and that's usually just a big box volume that you place on top of your environment. And so part of that box volume included the ambient sound, but it also included the reverberation from Gunfire. So basically what I'm getting at is if you saw the very first sound effects video I did, it had guns firing, but it didn't have like that environmental reaction, that really loud echoey sound. So while I was able to get gun sounds without the echo or without any ambience, I couldn't get them without the echo. Or like actually, I'm sorry, I couldn't get them with the actual echo. So that posed a problem for machinima creators or content creators that wanted to basically have more of like a realistic gunfire sound where you can hear it in the distance and whatnot. So I made a prediction. And so I predicted that if I basically said, well, that box volume that is the ambient sound, and then the box volume that produces that environmental reverberation, those can't be the same. Like I just made this assumption that maybe they were not the actual same thing. So what I ended up doing was I ran some tests. I said, what if the gun echo file or the gun echo box volume is bigger than the noise volume for the actual ambient sound, the insects and everything. So if we go on this block right here and we crouch, you'll notice the light changes and we're hearing the sound of the map. But then I uncrouch and I'm not hearing it. Now, if I go ahead and fire, you should be able to hear, because I have the sound turned down, you should be able to hear the actual gunfire echo with the actual you know, what have you. Now, what's interesting about this is that if we take this block and we raise this up just a little bit, if I remember correctly, if we're just a few units above this particular altitude in the map, like if I just jump up here and then I fire, you're not going to hear it at all. So basically my prediction came true. I was able to find a certain altitude where I could get the echo of the guns without getting the map noise, the actual ambient, like, you know, birds and whatnot, and still get the echo. And so there's literally a small section of space on the up axes of this map where you can basically get the gun sounds with the environmental reaction, which is awesome. So that's really cool. And I think that's about it. So the map is available to you guys, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is I'm done with Halo 5 sound effects. If you fly out here and you fly out too far, by the way, you will like just get spawned back. So if I just keep going, you'll just get put back into the map. But yeah, mostly everything is here, and so I think that's everything I wanted to cover. The map is available. You guys saw the tags, and happy hunting if you guys want to do your own sound effects now. And that is it. So hopefully when Halo 6 or Halo Infinite comes out, I can do the same thing again if my schedule permits. And if there's a space in the game where I can basically do this again. I've been lucky. This is actually the second time. For Halo 2 Anniversary, I found a spot inside of the Nebula map for Forge where basically there was no ambience. And so I was lucky to do it there, and I was lucky to do it here. So we'll see what happens with Halo Infinite. But until then, I'll see you guys next time on whatever next video I upload. So with that, have a good day. And any questions you have, just go ahead and leave them in the comments. Unsubscribe for less content. You guys know the drill. Have a good day, guys.